You are one decision away. Not one plan, not one morning routine, not one motivational video, including this one. One decision. Fully made, completely committed, non-negotiable. And you have not made it yet. Not because you are not capable, because you do not yet know the difference between a decision and a preference wearing a decision's clothes. Today, you learn the difference. Think about every time you decided to change something. Really think about it. The fitness journey that started strong and faded by week 3. The business idea that consumed you for a month and sits unfinished in a notes app somewhere. The morning routine you committed to on a Sunday night that lasted until Wednesday. Every single one of those felt like a decision when you made it. The energy was real. The commitment felt genuine. The version of yourself you described in that moment felt completely achievable. And then life arrived. The difficult morning, the week that got complicated, the day the motivation disappeared, and the decision, the one that felt so solid, turned out to be made of something softer than you thought. And you told yourself, I will try again, when the conditions are better, when I feel more ready, when the timing is right. You were not lying to yourself. You genuinely intended to follow through. But what you made was not a decision. It was a preference. And preferences collapse under pressure. Every single time. Let me show you the difference. A preference sounds like this. I want to get fit. I would like to build a business. I am going to try waking up earlier. Hear the language. Want, would like, going to try. Every single one of those words contains an exit. Want, until it becomes inconvenient. Would like, unless circumstances change. Going to try, which means going to stop when it stops feeling good. A decision sounds completely different. I train every morning before anything else, without exception, starting tomorrow, permanently. I work on the business for 1 hour every day before the world wakes up, regardless of how I feel, regardless of the results, for the next 90 days without negotiation. Hear the difference. No want, no would like, no try. Just what is. A decision does not contain the word try. A decision does not contain the phrase when I feel ready. A decision does not have a clause for difficult circumstances. A decision is made once, and then it is not a decision anymore. It is just what you do. The way breathing is what you do. Not when you feel like it, not when the conditions are right, just what you do. Why decisions are rare. If the difference is that clear, why do so few men actually make decisions? Why do most men spend their entire lives making preferences and calling them decisions? Because a real decision costs something at the moment of making. A preference costs nothing up front. It feels like a decision, it sounds like a decision, it has all the energy of a decision, but it carries a hidden clause. Unless it gets too hard, unless the results do not come fast enough, unless something more important arrives, unless I stop feeling like it. That unless is the most expensive word a man ever carries, because a real decision has no unless. It costs you the exit. And most men, even men who know they need to change, even men who feel the gap, even men who have spent 3 weeks on this channel feeling the weight of everything they have not yet built, are not willing to pay the cost of the real decision. Because paying that cost means giving up the comfortable story that says, I could start anytime I want to. I just have not decided yet. The preference keeps that story alive. The decision kills it and replaces it with something much more uncomfortable. The obligation to actually move. What a real decision looks like in the life of a man who has actually made one. It does not look like motivation. It does not look like a man who wakes up every morning fired up and ready to work. It looks like a man who wakes up some mornings tired and works anyway, because the decision was made. And the decision does not ask for his feelings before operating. It does not look like a man who never doubts. It looks like a man who doubts regularly and moves anyway, because the decision was made, and doubt, however loud, does not have the authority to override a real decision. It looks boring from the outside. It looks like the same action taken on the days it feels good and on the days it does not, with no visible difference between the two. That sameness, that mechanical consistency, that refusal to let feeling determine action, that is what a real decision looks like from the inside. And from the outside, 1 year later, 2 years later, it looks like a completely different life.
The philosophy. Here is the truth that every man who has ever built something real already knows. The decision does not wait for the right moment. The right moment does not exist before the decision. The decision creates the right moment. Every man who is living a life he chose rather than a life that happened to him made a decision before the conditions were right, before the fear was gone, before the finances were stable, before anyone believed in it, before he felt ready. He made the decision first and then built the life around the decision, not the other way. Most men wait for the life to be ready before they make the decision. That wait has no end, because the life does not get ready before the decision. The decision is what makes it ready. No one is coming to make the decision for you. No mentor, no sign, no perfect alignment of circumstances. You are the only variable, and the decision is the only move you have that changes everything else. The debt must be paid, not in plans, not in preferences, not in intentions, in one fully made, non-negotiable, irrevocable decision.
The protocol. Here is your assignment, non-negotiable, starting tonight. Step 1. Identify the one area of your life where a real decision would change everything. Not 2 areas, not a list, one. The one that has been generating preferences for the longest time. The one where you have said, I am going to, more times than you can count. That is the one. Write it down. Step 2. Write the preference version of that area, exactly as you have been saying it to yourself. I want to. I am going to try. I would like to. Write it. Look at it. Find the unless inside it. It is there. It is always there. Step 3. Write the decision version. No want, no try, no would like, no unless. Specific, measurable, permanent. I do blank every blank before blank without exception starting tomorrow permanently. Fill every blank. Leave no room for negotiation. Step 4. Make the decision tonight. Not tomorrow morning, not after the weekend, not when the conditions feel right. Tonight. Before you sleep. In writing. Out loud if possible. Because the decision made in private, in writing, before sleep, is harder to argue with in the morning than the one that only existed in your head. Step 5. Tomorrow morning, when the alarm goes off and the decision is tested for the first time, do not ask yourself how you feel about it. A decision does not ask for your feelings before operating. Just move before the preference has time to rebuild itself. The first morning is everything. Win it, and the decision starts becoming who you are.
3 weeks ago, you started watching this channel. You have heard about the graveyard. You have felt the watching man. You have named your excuses. You have understood the cost of the untested life. All of that was preparation. This, tonight, is the moment all of that was preparing you for. Not a plan, not a new morning routine. One decision. Fully made, completely committed, non-negotiable. The man who watches you has been waiting for this moment. Not for the plan, not for the motivation, for the decision. Make it tonight. Not for this channel, not for anyone watching. For the life that is one decision away. It has been waiting long enough. If this found you at the right moment, do not let it become another preference. Right now, in the comments, write your decision. Not the preference version, the decision version. No want, no try, no unless. Specific, measurable, permanent. Write it below. Right now. Because a decision written publicly is harder to abandon than one that only lived in your head. Subscribe to Savage Rise. Every week, one truth, one mirror, one protocol. For the man who is done making preferences and ready to make the one decision that changes everything. Hit like if you felt the decision forming while you watch this. Share this with one man, the one you know has been making preferences for years, who needs to hear the difference between a want and a decision today. The different life is one decision away.
Make it tonight. The man who preferred stayed the same. The man who decided became. Savage Rise.